What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Boundless Perception YouTube channel. And today we're going to be looking at these awesome shoulders that I printed from Sylvanas Windrunner, World of Warcraft. I got these shoulders off of Do3D when they were having their sale because I'm gonna have my girlfriend be Sylvanas Windrunner to accompany my Lich King. Anyways though, we're going to go ahead and check out the different type of supports with tree support specifically in Cura versus Prussa Slicer. So let's hop to it. So as I said, I 3D printed both of these shoulders using tree supports, but one was used with Prussa Slicer and the other was used with Cura. And I honestly have to say, I like the Prussa Slicer supports a lot better. That's these tree supports versus these. This one is a bit stringy at the moment because we had some 3D printing issues, but that can all be fixed with post, so don't worry about that. Anyways though, I digress. The print time, if I recall, was about the same. We're gonna hop over to both the slicers and take a look. But these came out a lot better, I have to say. If I flip it around, and you can see the inside, it's much more tree-like, you know, compared to this. So we're gonna hop over to the slicers, check them out, and then we're going to remove these supports and see which ones looked better, which ones were easier to remove, and which ones I think you should go with. So let's hop to that. All right guys, so here we are over in Ultimaker Cura. We are looking at one of the shoulder pieces sliced with tree supports. The first thing I'm going to tell you guys is that tree support slicing in Cura takes forever. I have no idea why it takes so long, but it just literally takes forever to slice anything with tree supports in Cura. Now that that's being said, you can see the tree supports don't really look like tree supports. Obviously here it does, but at the bottom, it's kind of strange. I don't know if that's just my settings, but the tree supports look very, very different over in Prussa. You will see that here in a second. But first, I just want to see, we have the same print. Well, you'll see this left shoulder scale. It's 5 days, 1 hour, 56 minutes to print this piece, and only 5% infill for this shoulder piece. That's not actually what I printed at, but that was just for the sake of this video. We've set that infill amount. Now, and if we hop over here to Prussa Slicer, again, this sliced so much faster. You can see that it's much more of an actual tree-looking support system. And you will see it only takes 3 days, 17 hours, 33 minutes to print this piece at 20% infill. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's a setting I have clicked. I really don't know, but yeah, I do know that when I actually printed these pieces, the Cura one took a lot longer to print. Anyways though, I do like the way this tree support system looks a lot better. I have traditionally been using Cura, but ever since I started using tree supports, I switched over to Prussa Slicer. Now, if you want to use tree supports, then the way to do it over here in Prussa Slicer is you're gonna go up to Print Settings and Style, right here under Support Material, Style, Organic. That's what you're going to go ahead and switch to. Now, moving back to the actual print, you can see here that, again, the tree supports look extremely well as compared to the ones over here in Ultimaker Cura. So we're going to actually see if it made a huge difference with regards to, you know, the actual print when I pull off the two pieces, you know, all the supports from each, and see which one essentially looks better. And yeah, hopefully they both look similar. So let's hop to it. Okay, so again, this is the one that was done in Prussa Slicer. This is the one that was completed with Cura. No idea why, again, it looked so different, but hey, it is what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the supports from this one right here with Prussa Slicer, with Cura, and see what it looks like. So we're gonna set that to the side and start removing these supports. So after about an hour or so, well, actually not even that long, I would say probably about 30 minutes or so, I was able to get all of the support material removed from the shoulder piece. It's going to take a good little bit of work. It's just kind of rough the print was kind of rough, you know, that was on me. But overall, it's actually not bad. And with regards to pulling off the supports, once I got this huge chunk off, it just came off in one big piece. The rest was extremely easy. So I will go ahead and say this took only about 30 minutes to get off. I had to get all the little pieces out from within the eyes and out from within the skulls, but that was pretty much it. And they all popped off extremely easy. In terms of the finish, this is not bad at all. I just sand this down, throw some Bondo on it, and we're gonna be good to go. So I would have to say that the basically tree supports from Cura, they did pretty well. The only issues that I did have were of my own doing with regards to setting up the printer before I printed, not a slicing issue. So, you know, I can work with this. This is definitely really good. So now we're gonna hop over to the Prusa slicer shoulders, and then we're gonna see how long those take. So let's hop to that. All right, so here again, we have our Prusa slicer tree supports, and we're gonna go ahead and start removing these. So here we have the finished piece after I pulled all the supports off of it. Again, this is the piece from Prusa Slicer. I have to say the supports for this one were much harder to remove than the supports from the Cura piece. The overall finish too is a bit rougher. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see if I can focus it in a bit for you. Basically, the finish is a lot rougher. It's gonna take more sanding. It's gonna take more post-processing to get this to an area that I really like. Yeah, so you guys can see here, this right here is the top of the piece from Prusa Slicer, and this right here is the top of the piece from Cura. So again, I do like the way the supports looked for Prusa Slicer, but overall I can tell right now in terms of post-processing and functionality, I guess, the Cura supports are going to win for me on these two pieces. So from my test of these two pieces with the different slicers and tree supports, I have to say that the Cura piece, the one over here, definitely was easier to remove, although it took a longer time to print. The Prusa Slicer piece, this one over here, was shorter to print, but the supports took longer to remove, along with the finish being a lot rougher than the finish for the Cura piece. They're both viable pieces, but in terms of post-processing work, the Prusa Slicer piece is definitely going to be a bit more work. Unfortunately, I have to say, I was hoping the Prusa Slicer piece was going to come out, you know, better, more victorious, because the print time, again, was much shorter for this piece than it was for the Cura piece. I think this print time was like 3 days and something hours, and this piece ended up being 5 days. So that's a pretty substantial difference, but you know, maybe that's what contributed to the piece for this one being so easy to remove, the supports. Whereas this one, I don't know, it seemed like the supports fused to the actual shoulder piece a lot better than that did for the Cura piece. So I'm not sure. If you are going to, you know, print you some shoulders or just any armor piece, definitely, I don't know, maybe do a few test pieces and see which one you like more. Moving forward, printing more things, I'm probably going to end up using the Cura tree supports, maybe trying to tweak them a bit more to try to get the printing days down. Or if I do end up going eventually back to the Prusa piece, well, the Prusa supports, I somehow need to figure out how to make it so that the tree supports don't adhere to the print as tightly. I thought I had my settings dialed in pretty well in terms of, you know, the gap that's present when you print tree supports, but I don't know, obviously I have some work to do. Anyways though, we are going to eventually be finishing these pieces. Again, this is going to be part of my girlfriend's armor. She's going to be Sylvanas Windrunner. Hopefully we can bring these to AWA. And yeah, that's going to be the plan, along with finishing my Lich King armor, which is sadly sitting over there on the floor completely neglected. But anyways, I'm going to get back to that one eventually and end up probably doing both of these projects both at once. Anyway, stay tuned for the finishing of these two projects. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me, checking out these supports. I hope it helps you in your 3D printing journey. And as always, stay boundless. See you guys. Bye-bye.